Well, a 1000% short squeeze. Unbelievable. It's only Tuesday. This week is already on fire. NUKK, this is our big, incredible momentum squeeze today. This thing went from, well, yesterday around $1.30, $1.40 to over $17 a share. And when I took my first trades on it this morning, I had no idea that this thing was going to go all the way up to 18 bucks. In fact, when I traded it, it was way down here, just under $2 a share. Well, I took it on this breakout. So what I want to show you here is just kind of demonstrate the power of this type of stock. So let's break down the profile of this latest 1000% squeeze. Oops, add another zero, 1000% squeeze. So price, when it started, it was about $2 and it peaked at just under 18. So the price range today was between 2 and 18. So let's see, and then the percentage change on the day, of course, when we first started trading it, this was already up 50%. Before I took my first trade, it was up over 50%. In fact, it was wasn't quite, no, actually, I take that back. It was up over 100% before I broke the ice with my first trade. So this is important because it helps us understand the type of stocks I should look at to consider trading. If a stock is up 100%, should I disregard it? No, not according to today. 100% was just the beginning for this one. The relative volume, let's check that metric. So relative volume on NUKK today is currently 3,173. Wow. So the relative volume is crazy. News, yup, it's got a news headline, and the float is 1.17 million shares. Now, what was the volume on this thing today? So far right now, let's see. So symbol, so NUKK, oops. The volume is 153 million shares. The percentage change is 1000% at the peak, and the float is approximately 1 million shares. So here's the thing that I say a lot. What we had here was a 153 times float rotation. Just an unbelievable rotation where there was so much volume that anyone who was holding yesterday, there were 1 million shares that were out yesterday that are currently up today as much as 1000%. And naturally, if someone sits down and is like, oh my gosh, I'm up 1000%, what are they going to do? They're going to sell. Who gets that lucky? Almost nobody. But if you did, you sell. And so you can expect that if there's a big move, people will sell. And unfortunately, all those people selling end up slowing down how high the stock can go. But in this case, there's only 1 million shares that potentially could have sold. There was so much volume, buyers were able to absorb all of those shares and keep sending it higher. Truly incredible. So this is float rotation. Now, if we had had this same stock today, but the float was 10 million shares, how would that have translated? With the same amount of volume, but 10 times the amount of supply, I would wager that it might have only gone up 100%. Now, if we had had 10 million shares, but then instead we had, 500 million shares of volume, maybe we'd be back at 500, 600%. But there is a relationship here between demand and supply. This is the supply level. So when you've got very limited supply and high demand, that's when things get exciting. And boy, today, it really got exciting on NUKK. So on this one, the first trade that I took was this curl pattern that was early in the morning. We had this curl right here where it popped up, it then sold off. It kind of looked like maybe it was done. And then it rips back up here and goes all the way up to a high of 373. It pulls back, so that was my first trade on it. And then it dips down, and right through here, I was actually watching it in this area. And if you recall, one of my last trades on it, just before the opening bell, was in this area here. This was around 8:50, just coming into 9 a.m. It popped up, and then it rejected. And I was like, gosh darn it. But the problem was, the interesting thing was, the problem was the MACD was negative. We had negative MACD, but the volume profile was solid where most of our high volume candles were green. And so coming into the open, unfortunately, we broke VWAP. We started stair-stepping down, and we were on our way to what looked like a round trip back to $1.50. And then all of a sudden, it reclaims VWAP. It holds 3 and pulls away up to 355. But remember, at this time of day, we have to deal with halts. So it ends up halting up right here, halts up, it opens higher, and then flushes down high volume selling. So now shorts feel like they're in control. They get it back below VWAP. They're in the driver's seat. Longs are feeling not so confident. And then all of a sudden, this thing's back at 450. It pulls back, it goes up to 5. It pulls back, it goes up to 6. So now we're in short squeeze territory. But when I look at this price action, to be honest, it's not super clean. There's a lot of topping tails. There's a lot of bottoming tails, indicating there's a lot of market orders going through. Of course, during regular trading hours, you do have market orders. So people are hitting a market order to sell, market order to buy. That creates those big whips in the chart. And those whips are not easy. You get stopped out on a whip like that, this pop and then that flush, you could easily go red. But son of a gun, this thing curled back up, broke through 6, micro pullback up to 7, micro pullback up to 8, micro pullback up to 10, halts up, opens lower, dips and rips up to 1150, pulls back, hits a topping tail high of about 1250. So this was also a really nice area. It goes sideways, pulls back, and then holy smokes, this thing squeezed up to 14, micro pullback, goes up to 18, and this is our current high water mark for the day. I'm blown away. This is just incredible. And you know what I would say is this is really going to set the stage for tomorrow. Because now we've had, just today, we've got NUKK up 900%, LUXH, this one from 80 cents to 220, PRTG up 142%. I mean, this is like pandemic style trading when we had stocks going up 200, 300, 400% a day, like back to back to back. This is some really impressive stuff. And even PRTG, which gave me a really nice trade early, pulled back here and then rips all the way back through VWAP from 7 to nearly $14 a share. Shorts got squeezed. And then it halts down twice, bounces back up, and is now back down. So here's what I can tell you. The market's hot. We've got some momentum, and I am so excited for tomorrow. I've also got some bad news. You're probably wondering, Ross, where's the P&L? I want to see how much you made today. You're going to have to wait for that, because here's the deal. I just finished recording a full hour-long class on trading the MACD crossover. That was what gave me the bulk of my profits today, and it's a class you are not going to want to miss. So that is uploading right now as I record this, but I'm going to publish this first. The other one is going to have to render a little bit or process to get to 4K here on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch that a little bit later this afternoon. So I'm going to hold back on showing you my P&L until you watch the recap, the full-length hour-long training. Stay tuned for that. And hey, if you want to watch over my shoulder, I will be streaming bright and early tomorrow morning. So link pinned at the top of the comments to do a 2-week trial for $20. You see whether or not it's worth $20 for 2 weeks to be in the community. I think you'll be impressed. I think you'll enjoy it. And I look forward to seeing you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. All right, so thanks as always for tuning in. And a reminder, trading is risky. My results aren't typical. So please manage your risk, take it slow, and practice in the simulator before you put real money on the line.